Hey everyone, Jason here with another Nanocoaster video. Today we're going to be assembling Orion from Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. Orion is currently the newest B&M Giga coaster, and it gets to its 300-foot drop by using a ravine, where the actual coaster is only about 280 feet tall. It's able to use the terrain to its advantage to have a 300-foot drop. So let's just jump right in and get started. Within the box we have a sheet of instructions, the base plate, and one sheet of track here. So this is one of the models that you actually have to cut out. It's not on the paper like most of the other Kings Island models that I've gotten. This one is actually one that has to be cut out, but not a big deal. We'll get to that in a minute. The first step is going to be to remove the brown paper from the black base plate. This is a step that frequently gets forgotten, but it really makes the coaster look a lot better if you remove the brown paper. To do that, you can just put your fingernail underneath these sharp corners here and then simply peel off the paper. And you'll want to do this from both sides. There's brown paper on the top and bottom. The bottom comes off typically as one piece. The top is several pieces because the top of the base plate actually has the full coaster layout engraved in it, where the bottom doesn't have that. So we're going to quickly peel this all away. And so there we have the fully exposed base plate. With the top with the coaster layout engraved in it, the bottom doesn't have that. Now if you've seen my other videos, you know that I like to take an extra step here, and that's to apply the logo of the coaster to the base. Now the model does come with a little sign there that has the Orion logo, but it's kind of small and hard to see from a distance. Now this coaster actually has a fairly large blank space on the base plate that allowed me to create a fairly large Orion logo here that I can simply place where I want here, press on, and then peel away the transfer tape. And so there we have the larger logo. So this was cut out on my Cricut. If this is something you're interested in doing, you have access to a vinyl cutter. The SVG for the Orion logo is going to be linked down below. Now that we have the base plate prepared, the next step is going to be to remove all of the track pieces from the metal here. To do that, I have a pair of wire cutters here that I can simply go around to each of these little tabs here and use the wire cutters to cut them off. I'm going to remove all of the pieces and then we'll move on and begin assembly. So now we've removed our 5 track pieces, our 2 supports, our station, and our sign. It's time to begin assembly. The first piece we're going to use here is going to be this one here with the long drawn out hill. And this piece is actually going to be the turnaround that happens towards the end of Orion. To do this piece, we're actually going to start in the middle of the spiral here with the taller end of the hill here. And we're going to just drop that first tab into place and then bend around the turnaround to the next small tab, continue around the spiral to the 3rd tab, and then we'll end it with the 4th one. The nice thing with each of these nano coasters is the track layout is engraved into the base plate, so it's easy to see exactly where your track is going. Once you have it bent around there, there's going to be 4 tabs here on the bottom that we're going to want to bend over to hold the track into place. Now when you look at it from the top, you'll see that it may not have the proper shaping, but that's something that's easily corrected by just taking your fingers and coming in here and bending the track to match the track layout that's down into the base plate. We may also have to bend some of the supports into place. And with just a little bit of bending, you can get the proper track shaping here. And there we have our first turnaround, the first track piece installed. The second piece is going to continue from that turnaround with this piece here. So it comes off that turnaround to one little final hill and then the final brake run there. So we're going to come down here with this medium-sized tab to right where we left off there and drop that into place. And then we'll take this turn into the final brake run and drop this large tab into place, followed by another large tab here, and then we'll have to bend it over here at the end and put the final small tab into place, and that goes to the final lift hill back into the station there. So that track piece there, bend over these tabs on the bottom once again, hold that into place. And then just make sure that in the turns, it looks like it's right. So it actually went on pretty well there. So there's our first 2 track pieces. The third track piece is gonna have this large hill followed by the small hill. And this is actually gonna attach to the other end of the first piece we installed. So the large hill is gonna go closest to that. We have a large tab at that end. And then we'll put that one in there, line it up with the second tab, and then we'll have to do just a little bit of bending here at the end to drop the final small tab into place. And then bend over the tabs on the bottom to hold it into place. And that completes the first 3 track pieces. The fourth piece is going to continue right where we left off there with this turnaround hill here. We're going to start with this end that has a little bit more of a shallow uphill and drop that tab into place. And then we have to go around the turnaround here. It's a pretty tight bend, and then drop the second tab into place, and then the third. So this one's gonna have a little bit of improper shaping here until we fix it, but we wanna get these tabs dropped all the way in and bend over the tabs on the bottom to hold them into place. And then once we have that, we can correct the track shaping here on the turnaround to make it just as tight as it needs to be. And match up the track pieces at the bottom as well. And then our turnaround is going to look just like that. Now before we do the last track piece, the first thing we actually have to do is to add on these 2 additional supports that lift it up. They may look exactly the same, but if you actually put them up next to each other, you'll notice that one of them is slightly taller than the other one. The one that's taller is going to go at the front. And so right here in this empty area here, there's 4 holes. So we'll take the one that's slightly taller and drop the 2 tabs into place and bend over the tabs at the bottom. And this support is going to lean forward. So we'll want to bend it down a little bit. Don't have to get it perfect quite yet, just a little bit there. We can line it up with the lift hill when we put that on. The other one is going to go into the other 2 holes. Drop that into place. And once again, bend over the tabs on the bottom. And there we have our 2 supports. Now the final track piece is going to be the lift hill into the first drop and the first airtime hill. You'll notice the first airtime hill actually has these 3 supports that bend towards the camera here. So to do that, we'll quickly grab the pliers here and bend each of these 90 degrees, as we've done with some of the other supports on other nano coasters, and bend those that way. So that it kind of looks like that, and we'll fix it a little bit later on. And now we'll start with the station portion and drop this large tab into place. And then there's another large tab at the bottom of the lift hill that will also line up in place. And then as we go around these turns, we'll drop these smaller tabs into place as well. And then this last one is just a medium tab that has to drop into place. And then we'll bend over the tabs on this on these pieces as well to hold them down into place. Now on this lift hill, you'll notice there's these 2 small little tabs. This is actually where the supports are going to hook in. So we'll want to bend this one forward just a little bit and get that lined up as we put this final large tab into place in the station so that it kind of attaches to itself. Same thing with this front tab, or with the front support. You'll want to line that up with the tab on the lift hill as well, so that they hook into place there where they're supposed to. And then we can bend this final tab over into place. Once we have that in place, we'll want to make sure these supports are kind of bent how they should be. Make sure that there's nothing that looks out of place. Make sure everything's following the track layout. And there we have the completed track layout for Orion. The final step is going to be to add the sign and the station. So the sign's just going to drop down on this tab in the front, bend backwards a little bit, and we'll bend over the tab at the bottom to hold it into place. The station, if you've done any other nano coasters, they all look exactly the same. They're all these little house shapes, so we'll bend this into a house, just like that, and then drop that into place as well. And bend over the tabs on the bottom. So there we have the completed Orion Nano Coaster from Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. Once again, I added the logo there Ultimately a really cool looking model of this coaster. Now if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that the last step I like to do, something that's not included in the kit, is to add a felt bottom to the model. The reason for that is with all these tabs, they easily bend or scratch a surface if you move it around. So I purchased this adhesive felt on Amazon. There's a link down below to purchase it if you'd like to as well. We'll simply put the Nanocoaster here on the adhesive felt, line it up with one of the edges here so we don't have to cut out the whole thing, and then grab a pencil and trace around it. Now as you can see, you can typically get 2 Nanocoasters out of each piece of felt. I've already cut one out of this piece and I'm going to get Orion out of it as well. So I'm just going to simply cut right inside of the pencil marking to get this cut out to the right shape and size. We want the felt to be slightly smaller than the actual base so that it doesn't quite go to the edge, but it covers all the tabs and gives us that nice felt bottom. Adds a little bit of grip, but also makes it so it won't scratch up a surface. So we'll just simply cut around inside of this marking. Now once we have the felt cut out, the next step is going to be to simply peel away just a little bit of the paper backing here to expose the adhesive and tear that away. And then we can line the Nanocoaster up right here over the felt, make sure that we get everything covered just properly. Once it's all lined up, we'll press down on the adhesive part and then we'll peel away the rest of the paper backing here to expose the rest of the adhesive. And just use the edge of the table here to help us apply it straight. We don't want the felt to stretch or to misalign, so we're just going to kind of go along and have this press it into place properly. Now this one I had a few places that the felt actually hung over the edge, so I'm going to go along here the edge with the scissors and just kind of cut that away. Like I said, it's easier if you don't get it, but if you do get it, it's not the end of the world. It does cut away pretty easily a little bit down here at the end as well. So there I have my completed Orion Nanocoaster, once again from Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. It's available directly from the park or from the Kings Island shop, and I'll include a link to that down below so that you can purchase one if you'd like. I also have a link to the SVG file for the logo if that's something you'd like to cut out, and a link to the felt here that you can purchase on Amazon and add to your Nanocoaster. Really cool model though. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the thumbs up button down below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you didn't like the video, that's okay as well. But thanks and have a great day.